Hi, everyone. Today we're going to talk a little bit about forming your own language with spirit. I think it's really important that people understand that no one has ever had the ability or ever will have the ability to communicate with spirit like we can communicate with each other in the physical sense. So what we have to do is we have to learn how to form our own language with spirit. And very often for people like me, spirit helps us do that. I mean, we can certainly take workshops and classes to have a better understanding of how the world of spirit works with us and how we can be more in control of our gifts and abilities. But certainly the number one thing that we have to do is to quiet that left brain, which we do through prayer and meditation, raise our own vibration, our own soul vibration, and have a clearer understanding of how they work with us. Okay, so the one thing that's very big with the world of spirit are symbols. Symbols are very, very important. They're very often, like I explained before, they can hold up something. If I'm in meditation and they hold up, say a pen, they'll hold up a pen and they'll say vacation. So what I do is when I'm done with that meditation, I will go to my symbol journal and I will open it up and I will write pen, and next to that the meaning vacation, because that's what spirit gave to me. So for years and years, I've always asked spirit when I go into prayer and meditation to very often bring a symbol with its meaning through, and they will do that. Now the intention is with a symbol journal is that you only have to write it down one time. If I write a symbol down and they never use that symbol for 20 years, when they use that symbol, I will remember it because that's the intention that was given to me. They will help me remember it. Okay, so symbol journals are very, very big. They will also call out names. They'll call out dates. You know, I am a very little bit of a medical intuitive. And I say that a very little bit because there was only one true medical intuitive that I know of, and that was Edgar Cayce. And he himself diagnosed thousands of people just by going into a trance-like state, and after reading a letter from maybe a loved one whose wife or husband was ill, and he would just kind of scan in his mind and correctly diagnose what was wrong with these people. It was a true gift. This was his gift from God, and he was amazing. So I hear a lot of people today say, oh, well, I'm a medical intuitive. No, they're not medical intuitives. There was only one true medical intuitive that I know of, and that was Edgar Cayce. However, when spirit energy pulls in for me, they make me feel a sensation in my body of what was most affected before they passed. Okay, now, spirit doesn't have the ability to make me feel any pain, ever. So, if you go to a medium, and the medium says, how did your father die? And you say, oh, my father died of a heart attack. And the medium goes, oh, I feel it. Then, that's a charlatan. Right off the top, I tell you that's a charlatan. Number one, they shouldn't ask you who you want to hear from. They shouldn't ask you for a loved one's name. And they shouldn't ask you how that loved one died. That's up to the medium to tell you, because again, we're not in control with who steps in. So true spiritual evidential mediums know this and work properly and leave it up to spirit. And more times than not, the people that want to hear from their loved ones in spirit when they come to me are able to, because I work very strongly with my guides, which I talked to you about the other day. Okay. But we have to understand and learn how to work with these wonderful spirit energies that are our guides, angels, and certainly loved ones from spirit when they pull in. Now they will call out names, they will call out dates, they will make many like myself feel a sensation, a light sensation in the body. I did a reading the other night and I had a sensation in the lower part of my body around my liver and pancreas, and I said to the person, I'm feeling like a tickling. That's what I feel, like a tickling sensation, a feather-like touch in the liver area. And she said, yes, that's what my mother died from, pancreatic and liver cancer. So that's an identifier for me. So that's a form of evidential mediumship. Okay, now I have a real problem when mediums say, oh, your loved one had difficulty breathing before they passed. We are all going to have difficulty breathing before we pass. So, rather than say they have difficulty breathing, let's have a little more information. If I have something in the chest area, it will feel to me, I'll feel fluid for congestive heart failure. I'll hear cancer for lung cancer. It will be more than difficulty breathing. Okay, but you want very distinct pieces of information. Okay, very distinct pieces of information. The wonderful Janet Nohavec, who is the pastor of the Journey Within in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, she taught me and many others, because she has a school there where she teaches this. And she always says, and I always remember it, and I always teach it now to my students, our job is to paint their loved ones back to life. Because when we lose a loved one and we watch them suffer, we watch them pass, whether it's young or old, we have a hard time getting that image out of our mind. So it's our job to paint them back to life and truly show them how their loved ones are now, which is in perfect health in the spiritual sense, in a beautiful place where they're supposed to be and where they want to be. So that's our job, to paint their loved ones back to life, so that when they leave us, not only are they comforted by understanding where their loved one is, but they're also filled with proof that we really did in fact connect with their loved ones, because how would we know the information that we bring forward if we didn't know them? You know, I've said to you before, you can pull up one obituary, and the charlatans out there can do 10 readings off one obituary, because in an obituary, they give names, they give dates, even pets' names or endearing names of loved ones, how the person died by contributing to Heart Association or Cancer Association or whatever. So there's a wealth of information that the charlatans get from one obituary, okay? And today, with places like Ancestry.com, you can go generational, okay, generational. So what I try to do and what I teach to do, evidential mediumship, is I bring in information with the help of God and Spirit, God above all else, God and Spirit, by bringing in information that only the person that comes to me for a reading and their loved one in spirit can validate. And very often the information that comes in can be information that's going on, you know, in their lives right now. You know, such as, you know, a few nights ago I did a reading, and the loved one said Tom McCann, two pairs of shoes. And I said to the person I was reading, your loved one said Tom McCann, 2 pairs of shoes. And they almost slid off the chair, because they said, oh my God, I just went shopping at Tom McCann and I bought 2 pairs of shoes. And how would you know that if my loved one didn't tell you that? So evidential mediumship is very different, and I'd like you to know the difference, okay? They can track a phone number, the charlatans, and they do. So when people say to me, oh, is this one credible? Is that one credible? You know, I don't know if they're credible or not. I don't like to knock anybody who's really out there, because I don't know them personally. And I believe that if they got to the point where they have their own shows and they're out there in the public eye, then yes, they're mediums. They have to be doing something right. They wouldn't be out there if they weren't. But they also have a show, you know, so they can't afford to look wrong. You know, and sometimes when you're out there like that all the time and the cameras are rolling, you know, that left brain and ego takes over, and sometimes it isn't really helpful to the person who's out there. So we have to be very careful, you know, that we bring in information that can only be validated, again, by the loved one in spirit and the person who comes to you for a reading. We have to always do it in God's love and light, first and foremost. And to me, I would never do a reading without educating a person first. First thing I do is remove all the myths and fears, helping them to understand that only good exists on the other side. You know, that's my number one thing. And then educating them about how this all works and what we can do to raise our own vibration to connect in a stronger way to spirit. Okay, so, you know, my thing is, if you go and you do a gallery of 100, 200, 300, 400 people, you know, and instead of going to an area where there's 200 or 300 and saying someone in this area lost a husband or knows someone who did, well, who doesn't? Okay, why can't they just go directly to the person? Okay, that's the way I do it, and that's the way I teach. I try very hard to tap into as many people personally that I can. And I'm not saying the other way is wrong, because a lot of the British mediums, and I will do it that way also, where I'll get my link and I'll bring in information. And I know that's the way Janet Nohavec works, but the information she brings in is so off the chart, amazing, that you know without a doubt that she's connecting Two, she has her link with a spirit energy from the other side with specific information connected right to the person in the audience. So it can be done both ways properly, but I want you to understand, understand the difference between a true spiritual evidential medium and a charlatan. And like I say, there are many out there. Okay, so there's many ways, and as time goes on, I'll get a little deeper into each thing. I'm just trying to keep these clips a little short so you don't get bored. I just want you all to be educated so you have a better understanding, and that you can connect yourself with your loved one. Okay, so have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day, and hopefully you'll have a beautiful day and a wonderful night. Okay, and as always, I leave you in God's love and light.